Harry, Splendid Living has been a good horse in recent times. You've been on board for those last 3 runs, but he continues to acquit himself well.
He does. I was very happy with his win the time before last, and I expected him to go close last time, which he did. He ran a cracking race. Clearly that form is stacking up well. He comes into this race in great form.
And on that last performance, obviously 18 Palms getting the better of him, obviously a lightly raced horse. So he's certainly holding his own against horses that are on the improve.
Yeah, he is. I've always thought he's a horse that's sort of learning quite slowly, but every time I do sit on him, he's just that little bit straighter. So I think there's more improvement to come from him.
Interesting, obviously, you say that, given that he is sort of nurturing into what is a nice type of horse around here. No pace in this race on paper, Harry, so the lead does look up for grabs. He clearly is a happy horse from the front, isn't he?
He is. He seems he's got that early gate speed and gets to the front fairly easy, and he's a very strong traveller. So I just don't think we'll overcomplicate things. He's not a horse that has to lead or anything like that. But if there's not much pace early on, then I'm more than happy to take it up.
How much of an influence on the decision with cheek pieces going on did you have?
Yeah, I mentioned it to Ricky afterwards. We both discussed the pros and cons, and he's a horse that he was a little bit keen before, but I feel like he's settling quite nicely now. But as I mentioned, he's just got that little bit of greenness in him, so it might just encourage him to stay that bit straighter.
Yeah, you and he certainly have gelled. Just on yourself, Harry, that's 17 winners now this season. 25 was last season's tally. I think we're around about 22 meetings out from the end of the season, so well on target to surpass last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm relatively happy with how the season's going and has gone. We've got that little bit left to go, so hopefully I can just finish strongly, and I'd love to surpass last year's tally.
Harry, Happy Trio was a winner for you last time out. You've got a decent enough little book of rides on Wednesday night. He's one of them. Let's go back to the start with him. Talk me through his starts, because he's a bit awkward away, isn't he, this fellow?
He can be. He has a tendency to be that little bit awkward away, and last time I was drawn 4, which on paper looked great, but it just so happened that the horses on the inside of me were sort of going the same pace, and it was unfortunate, but I was stuck 3 wide throughout, so hopefully that won't be the case on Wednesday.
But then come to the business end of the race, obviously having been flushed out that bit wider, he did well to battle on, didn't he?
He did. He's an extremely tough horse, and kudos to the horse. He's really stuck his head down, and from a hard trip, he did very, very, very well to win.
He's got stall 4 again, so I'm guessing going into the race, you and Douglas will be hoping that he probably does get away that bit slicker and just finds himself in that better spot. Yeah,
I mean, he's quite a straightforward horse to ride, so I imagine the plan will be just to sit somewhere behind the pace and get that one-off position.
Given what happened last time and the nature of Happy Valley racing, obviously very competitive, he's got an extra £5 to carry now. I guess he does have to step up to another level slightly with him, but do you think he's a horse that's in the right sort of vein of form to be able to do that on Wednesday?
He does. I mean, the way he did things last time, and considering the trip he had, I think the extra £5 shouldn't be too much of a hindrance. Obviously he's going to have to put his best foot forward, but I'd expect him to be thereabouts.
He was second on the A course, I think, back in early March as well, so certainly the nature of the track should play to his strengths a little bit as well.
Yeah, clearly he goes around this A track well, so that's another tick in the box.
Jamie Hoss is a horse that's been in very good form. Had his first go in this grade last time, and he just touched off, but comes to the races in pretty good heart.
Yeah, he's racing consistently. We found the key to him, just got to ride him a little bit quiet, and he seems to like Happy Valley, so he's maintained his fitness well. He just had a tick over trial the other day, just cruised around there and heads back to the races in good shape again.
I know he only just got beat, so it's probably hard push to say that he didn't handle it, but it was good to yielding ground last time. First time he's raced on it. Were the reports from Zach that he did handle it and he went through it okay?
Well, Zach felt like he didn't quicken up as good as he can, so maybe he thought it could have been the ground, but also first time in Class 3, so there was a couple of different things changed for his last run. Obviously nabbed on the line by a progressive horse, but he toughed it out. He didn't throw it away, so he, as I say, he goes back to the races in good order. He's got a nice draw. Hopefully the pace is on and it can set it up for something to come from just off them a little bit.
Handicapper saw fit to put him up 3. He'll carry an extra 5 in this, so I guess in retrospect for him not getting beaten that far, you sort of got to take that on the chin, I suppose.
Yeah, the handicapper's a bit tough at the moment, but anyway, that's what happens when your horses are racing well. So hopefully he can continue on, and obviously he's by Fiorente, so he's bred to get a little bit further, and we would like to stretch him out a little bit more at some stage, but he's been racing so well at 1200, we don't think we need to change anything just yet.
I notice he's a bit heavier, this horse, Jamie. Obviously, you say young, inexperienced horse. So is he still just sort of maturing and filling out a bit?
Well, his weight sort of fluctuated a little bit over his last 3 or 4 runs. He's sort of down 20, and then he's sort of up a bit again for this race. So I'm not too concerned. I was mindful of trying to get a little bit of condition back on him, but he's certainly been eating well and training well. He's done the work that hopefully he needs to do to be competitive.
His last 3 runs have all been on the A course as well. They get the A course again Wednesday night, so he's operated well, and I guess that certainly bodes well.
Yeah, back to the fresh ground there. So can race a little bit tight, but hopefully he can get out and get his chance.
Alexis, Maldives is one of your rides on Wednesday night. You haven't had that long an association with him, but so far it's been pretty good without winning, and he went really close last time.
Yeah, he's been very consistent. We've had the chance to have inside draws the last 2 runs. I think it helps a lot for his chances. But the horse is doing well, and last time was very unfortunate to find someone a bit stronger. And he seems to be in good form. I rode him in the morning. He looks fine.
It's interesting you say that, because having gone back through his form and looking at sort of times when he has won, he's always looked like a horse that does appreciate that cover. Does he give you the feel of a horse that wants to be sort of covered up and then produced at the right time?
Yes, that's right. Definitely. I've described his racing style as a bit patient. Yeah. He likes to come through horses and finish strong on the line quite late.
Going back and having a look at his run last time, obviously only narrowly denied, that gap just opened up beautifully for you, didn't it, on the home turn? It almost was perfect.
Yes, I mean, I was a little bit frustrated not to win, because I thought it was hard to do anything better to help its chance, and he quickened really well. Like I thought I was home, and I couldn't deliver, so I was a bit frustrated, and hopefully this time should be the one.
You mentioned those draws, Alexis. He's got gate 5. Perfect place to be?
I think it's okay. Like he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna play a key in the pace. Like no, he won't be involved in the pace. So it doesn't matter. I'll probably come back a little bit and come through horses. Hopefully we have the right spot, and the pace should be favouring us.
Just looking back on the weekend, Alexis, just a bit of reaction on Wellington. You must have been incredibly proud of his effort there. I mean, he loomed up as if he was going to sort of challenge Lucky Sweynesse, and he's eventually had to settle for 3rd. But I imagine, were you and Richard happy with the run there from the old boy?
I was very happy with the run. Like I thought he ran a very good race. I must say it wasn't very smooth. Like it wasn't a perfect race. I was a little bit hampered at the turn, losing a bit of momentum, which is quite important on this course. And after that, as a result, I have to roll forward a little bit too early for his racing style, And he's got a great turn of foot, but he couldn't sustain the distance because of that, and lost the 2nd place probably. So I was very happy with the performance. Wasn't very happy with the race itself, but still he's a great horse. He ran extremely well, and he remains very competitive.
Hugh Bowman, Nordic Dragon, one of your rides on Wednesday night, did a good job to return to the winners' enclosure last time.
He did, Nick. He ran very well 2 starts ago, and it wasn't unexpected to see him do what he did last start, and he did it with a bit of authority. So he's drawn middle of the field this time, so I feel like he's matured mentally in the couple of times that I've been on his back, and I don't see any reason why he can't repeat that performance.
Just the nature of the win last time out, you say he did it with a bit of authority. It was quite noticeable that it was very much a hands and heels ride late on. Were you always confident that you'd pick up the leader and eventual runner-up?
I was, although it did put on a bit of a fight when I levelled up to it, which is often the case here in Hong Kong. So, but he did win. He came from well back. He got into a really good rhythm mid-race, and I would expect, like I said, him to do the same. He seems to be more effective ridden, just been switched off early in his races, but with a better draw and with the advantage of having those 2 runs where he has been ridden a bit quieter than he was before I rode him. I think his racing pattern will start to adapt pretty swiftly.
Has that been the feeling from connections? Obviously, he made all to win on his debut, but I guess that was in a lesser grade sort of thing. Are they of the opinion now that he is the type of horse that you sort of wait with, and he's a better horse coming from behind?
Well, I mean, we had to sort of overdo it a bit the first time I rode him because he drew really wide and he really was fierce, but he settled into a good rhythm mid-race and finished off well on what was a pretty frantic speed that day, mind you. And then last start, they didn't go quite so fast. He did things a bit more economically in the middle of the race and finished accordingly. So I can see him performing well again in this class, and I can see him performing well if and when he goes up in Class 2.
Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks on from that win. Does he give you the impression, Hugh, that he's a type of horse now that mentally has sort of been able to take his racing that bit?
Well, he's come a long way in a short time, but I think the writing's on the wall, Nick. He showed in his last start win that he's certainly going the right way about business, and hopefully he can repeat that for us on Wednesday night.
Indeed, he certainly cost a few quid, and they want more wins out of him, I'm sure. Just looking back on the weekend, Hugh, a couple of Group 1 runners-up positions for you, both Courier Wonder and Beauty Joy, both horses running extremely well. Always a tough ask against the winners, but they certainly acquitted themselves nicely.
Both of them did, and I thought they were both horses, if they performed to their best, could run into top 3 placings, and that's exactly what happened. Courier Wonder especially, I was very proud of him. I've ridden him a couple of times this season, and I thought that was by far his best performance with me on his back. And Beauty Joy too. Beauty Joy got that nice consistent pace which he just cries out for, and it enabled him to get into that beautiful rhythm and finish off accordingly. So both horses ran to their best, and that's all we can ask. And Golden 60, it was, although I was no challenge to him, it was great to be up there at the pointy end to see him with his record win.
You've obviously ridden on many big days here. How much of a buzz did Sunday give to a jockey partaking in the occasion? I mean, because it certainly was exciting for all of us, but it was a big day, wasn't it, on Sunday?
Huge day, huge crowd, and you can really start to feel the adrenaline and the vibe increasing. I think, with the last couple of years behind us, the COVID era, let's call it, yeah. You can just feel that internationalisation of horse racing is starting to flow again, and to be a part of it is it's fantastic.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Exactly.